Hey, you guys like to travel? Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. GM, GA, GE. You guys curious? You guys like to travel? You guys like to see the world and explore? You guys like quests? You guys like journeys? You guys like stories? I like all that S. I like all that stuff. And it's been expressed to me, and it's been true, at least for me, that the longest journey you ever take in your life is the one from your head to your heart. Ooh. Who in here considers themselves smart? Most people that say they're dumb are usually smart. Most people that say they're bad parents are usually good parents. So I guess what I'm saying is, some of you have heard me say this before. Some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life are the biggest dum-dums, are the biggest idiots I've also met in my life. Because they're usually really smart in one area only, which is usually their job or career, and then really make poor decisions with everything else: food, family, relationships. And I know geniuses, like literal geniuses. I know people with photographic memories. I know people who can like build a computer from scratch. I know people that can like hack into like governments. I know, I can honestly say I know some of the smartest people on the planet, and those people are absolute nincompoops in one or in most of the areas in their life, and they're only smart in the hacking or computer or that part, you know. And I'm making a generalization, but they don't seem that happy. I remember getting my IQ test from Critter's girlfriend at the time. She was studying for that, and she gave me an IQ test, and I had never, I'd always considered myself an idiot. I have poor command of a lot of my memory, my grasp of the, like, when I speak, all the and like, is because in my brain, I'm scanning. I'm like, I know the word. I learned it. In English class in junior high and high school, and I just can't get it. So it always turns into a cuss word or like, some kind of stutter. I don't know. It's been explained to me by my friends. I could take pauses. I don't have to fill the space every second. I can't even stop here. Shit. Okay. Well. And yeah, so I don't think it's a generalization. I'm taking a pause right now to think of every genius. Oh, and they don't seem very happy. Some of them, or most of them, have been suicidal. Because I was like, what's that like to just be smarter than everyone? When you walk in a room, you just understand everything, and you can understand biophysics. And, I had a friend who, like, you couldn't stump him. He had a grasp of every religion, every, and then I could introduce him like the weird stuff I'm into, like comic books and punk rock music, and he would be like, explain to me this Black Flag, and the different rhythms of, Bad Brains going from hardcore into reggae, and then he would get it. He would just like, it was unbelievable to watch his brain work. He would learn about feminism, and he would learn about like anything that he didn't understand. He would just spend an afternoon reading, and then he would know. But he was such a dummy. He was such an idiot, and he's had severe mental health issues, suicidal, severe depression. And I remember doing my IQ test with Critter's girlfriend, and she just got certified to give those tests, and turns out I was that thing right below genius. I was very shocked. It was like almost a genius. And I was so excited to go home and tell my family. I was like, hey, assholes, a-holes, your son's a genius, or almost a genius. And I get home and I find out that everyone in my family, my brothers, my mom, my dad, all have higher IQs than me. I felt so low. I came home like so like grandiose and braggadocious and like, hey, dinner's on me tonight. Your son's, And my dad pats me on the head like, it's okay. And I don't know if this is true what he said, but he says most people with the highest IQs end up working for people that have lower IQs. I said, thanks, Dad. And he said people with lower IQs are usually happier. Is that like an ignorance is bliss type thing? I don't know. But yeah, there's I was about to do like a very mean. This is what every podcast sounds like. It's like, well, I think my, echo chamber, my ideas on this and Trump and religion and well, I think that I would love to live in a society of not deep thinkers, but of deep feelers. Because, when I'm in that room of people, I said this to Neil Strauss, just like there's just people that their brains operate at a speed that I can never compete with. And I feel insecure in those situations. Like, I'm trying to keep up with this political argument, which I don't care about, or this or that, or the state of affairs, or, and I just can't. Like, that's not the way my brain works. So I always go back to feeling. Hey, you're not allowed to feel like that. And yet I do. If you always go back to your heart, you'll never be wrong. But you're not allowed to feel that like that. And yet I do. You'll never be able to outsmart an emotion. You'll never be able to think your way out of a feeling. Right? There's only 3 acceptable things to answer in this society when someone says, hey, how are you doing, Bob? Good, fine, and okay. Even if the worst thing just happened to you, right? I'm okay. Yeah, my parents just died, but okay. And those aren't feelings. Okay, good, and fine aren't feelings. Google it. Google what feelings are. There's all these things that will pop up. Identify them. Identify how you're feeling today. I'll say it again. I want to live in a society of deep feelers, not deep thinkers. I want to feel close to you. When you're vulnerable with me, then I'm vulnerable with you, and I can connect. If you want to throw, when I read in this book, and you start quoting scripture, and you start quoting weird French, neoclassicist poets, and botanical facts, and numbers, and graphs, and charts, and it's just, that's not closeness. So I'll ask you right now, how are you feeling? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not tonight. How are you feeling right now? I guess I should answer that. Right now, I feel calm and a little bit irritable. 90% calm, 10% irritable. I'm cold, so I'm going to go get a sweater soon. I feel extreme gratitude in this moment to be connecting with myself and you. I have some, my head hurts a little bit from staying up all night. I have a lot of anticipation, excitement, curiosity, joy about painting later today and meeting new guests for the Choe show. I feel some sadness, and I can't tell you what that's about right now. Because I don't know. Maybe I'll look into that and report back later. I feel joy about eating no animals for the last week. I'm not a strict vegetarian. I guess a half-atarian is what they call it, or not even that. I having strict boundaries around eating stuff has not worked out the best for me, so I try to be more gentle and forgiving and open. And that's how I'm feeling at this moment right now. And the overwhelming one out of everything I just said is gratitude. I feel grateful more than anything. And a little bit bloated I'm very gassy in my body because of the not eating all this new stuff that I don't usually eat. How are you feeling? Dosame.